Are you confused as to why you're still in separation? Why your twin flame is still acting the way they are? Why they're still running? Your twin flame is a reflection of you, and you're a reflection of them. So their behaviour is something that you can look at too. So ask yourself, where are you running and what are you hiding from? My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. We keep thinking we're ready. We keep thinking that union is coming, that we have nothing else to do. But the only reason separation is still there is for you to look within and not look at your twin and what they're doing or what they're not doing. We often get frustrated with their behaviour. Why are they running? Why are they treating me this way? Why are they so avoidant? Why are they not wanting commitment? Ask yourself all of those questions. This is the mirror reflection. What are you running from? What are you hiding from? Where are you afraid of commitment? Where are you avoiding your own feelings? And this is the thing, like, we think that we've done so much healing. And you know, I said this before, I had so much healing done before I met my twin. And I thought it would be easy after meeting him in the physical, but it wasn't. It was actually probably harder because I was led to the deeper stuff. But I understand that every time there is that separation, there's more for me to heal as well. And I had to look back and ask myself, what am I running from? Where am I avoidant? And you know, one thing that's come up big, one of the biggest things that we have to heal on our journey, not only is it inner child healing and shadow work, there's that inner teen healing. And I didn't connect this because I was actually doing a lot of inner teen work lately, and I've done a video on that lately. But you know what I mean? My inner teen was triggered again. And I was guided to do some more introspection and more work. But I was only reflecting the inner teen energy or the healing that I needed to do into my career. And I never really connected the dots to my twin flame and my connection, except for the fact that I've been saying this for ages, right? When I'm in this, when I was in my chaser mode, as we call it, what I used to call it was my teenage energy, because I was like a fucking teenager going, oh my God, why hasn't he texted me? Oh my God, does he even like me? This kind of energy. I'm like, oh no, that's not your empowerment energy. That's your teenage energy. So I was sitting with this the other day and I was thinking about it, and I was like, teenage energy. And I was like, I'm actually doing inner teen work lately. And I'm like, oh my God, it all makes sense. You know, their behavior is like the behavior of a teenage boy. It's immature, it's avoidant, it's running away, and it's afraid of commitment. But I'm acting like a teenage girl. You know, like a lovesick puppy. If the phone goes off, it's like, oh my God, is it him? You know, and it's literally like you're running after this, like desperate for that validation, desperate for that love. You know, like, and it's so insecure when you don't get it. This is our inner child wound as well, but like that's a self-worth wound as well. And I was like, if I'm acting like a teenage girl, he's going to be acting like a teenage boy. It's that simple. So if I act like an empowered woman in my sovereignty, he's going to act like an empowered man in his sovereignty. I have to be my divine feminine energy for him to be in his divine masculine energy. But if I'm in my teenage energy, you know, literally desperate, insecure, and needy, he's going to be like that as well. And I was like, oh my God. Like, and then I had to reflect back to my teenage years and how I was in relationships. And I was like, am I portraying some of that behavior now? A little bit. And it's just like, oh my God, you know, this is that's like, I never even thought about doing inner teen work when it came to it was general inner teen work, but I didn't specifically connect it to the twin flame dynamic. And I was like, that just makes so much sense. You know, we're going through inner child healing. That's a big one on our twin flame journey. To regain our self-worth so that we're not seeking outside ourselves for that validation. But I think it goes in layers. You do the inner child work, and then you do the inner teen work, and then you do the shadow work. You know what I mean? It's this different stages, because it's the different stages of our life. And it's like our life is a reflection of our wounding. So our healing is going to be start at the beginning, start at the inner child, then start with the next step, which is your inner teen, and then your shadow work. But I just wasn't registering the whole reflection in my twin flame dynamic that I was acting like a teenager, and so was he. And I was like, how do I expect him to grow up if I don't grow up myself? And I've been sitting with this now the last week or so, and I've been like, what am I still running from? What am I still avoiding? Where am I still acting like a teenager? You know, and like, we think that they're afraid of commitment, but deep down we have a fear of commitment as well, because all we've ever known is toxic love. All we've ever known is unsafe love. So that's why we're not afraid to be loyal or afraid to be with one person for the rest of our lives. That's not what we're afraid of. But we're afraid of being hurt again. And so are they. And that's the fear of commitment. It's not a fear of being with the one person forever. It's a fear of things going wrong like they did in the past. So we have to work on that aspect. And like, you know, I've been going through this as well lately. We go through this conflict. It's the ego versus soul. It's the fear versus love. And we're being pulled in two directions. How can we manifest if we're manifesting from, like I said this before, I want this, but. This fucking but. You know what I mean? I really want this, but. And it keeps coming back. And even if we think that we're in this energy of visualization, of surrender, we're still in that energy of but. But can I have this? But is this possible? But do I deserve it? But is this fucking real? You know what I mean? And that's all that keeps coming in. And that's what's kind of holding us back. So that's where the fear of commitment comes in, or that avoidant energy comes in. It's because we're in this but energy. But energy, sorry. But we're on a constant state of but, like. Sorry. You know, but it is. It's that constant energy of conflicting. The conflicting energy, that contradicting energy. We think we're in the ready mode. We think that we're ready to accept love into our lives. But are we really? A lot of us on this journey have been in isolation for a long time. We've regained our independence after being codependent for such a long time. We've been in relationships before, romantic friendships and family dynamics, where we've lost ourselves completely and where we don't want to lose ourselves again. And we forget, this is the human side of things. Our soul knows the truth. Our soul knows that we can, when we do the healing and when we get into union, that we cannot repeat past relationship mistakes because we've evolved. Not only have we evolved, our twin flame has evolved. They don't want codependency, lose yourself energy either. They want interdependence as well. So it cannot fail. When you go into a relationship conscious and aware of what you don't fucking want, and your partner is the same. Like, if you went in conscious and aware into a relationship with somebody who's unconscious and unaware, that shit ain't going to work. But you and your twin are doing the work to become conscious and aware. So you cannot fail at this, and you cannot lose yourself to this, because not only are you adamant that you don't lose yourself, your twin flame is adamant that you don't lose yourself either. Because as a healthy dynamic in relationships, you want to see your person grow. You want to see them evolve, as you want to see yourself evolve. But then and I love this whole reflection mirror thing. I said this before, right? When you're with your twin flame, or when you're in union with your twin flame, or in connection with your twin flame, it's like being plugged into, you're on, with empaths, as we are, our energy drains, and we need to come back and we need to recharge. The way I see it is plugging into the wall for a reboot. You know what I mean? Like a robot. But when you're with your twin flame in divine union, when you have the healing done, it's like you're plugged into each other. You're both each other's power bank. And you're both at a constant 111%. And it cannot go down. So there's that reflection as well. Like, you cannot drain each other. And you cannot be drained by each other. But you boost each other up. So you could become your best self. Because they're becoming, and I love it, it's like, and it's technically 222%. Because when you think about it, you're on full power, they're on full power, but you feel their energy. So you're not just having your full power, you have their full power. And then they have your full power on top of their full power. So you're both at 220%, 222%, right? And But in actual fact, right, so if you're both at 222%, this could go on forever, you're effectively feeling the intensity of the double as well. So then you're feeling their double, and you're feeling, it's like 444% to keep just going. So like it's a never ending energy boost. That's what I'm trying to say. But like you become your best self, they become their best selves, and then they feel your energy, so they become doubly their best selves, and you become doubly your best self. Anyway, that's the reflection I'm trying to say here. Everything you do is a reflection of what they do. So every behavior they have is a reflection of what you have. So if they've gone quiet, it's because you both have something to heal. This is the thing. We think, oh my God, they're running again. Oh my God, they have more to heal. Every single time they run, there's something after being triggered. Every contact is an activation for the next level of healing. So what part of you still needs to be healed? Because, I used to always do this. We'd be after getting, back together, or we'd be in contact again, and I'd be on this high again, and the activation wouldn't come in for a few days. And I'd be like, on this high, and then they come down and like, oh shit, I have more to heal. But, I'd be in the high for such a long time that I'd be like, oh my God, I have nothing to heal. Everything's okay. Everyone's happy ever after. You know what I mean? But they're running again, so maybe they have some work to do. And I'm like, then the crash comes and I'm like, oh, maybe I have some work to do as well. Whereas in actual fact, I should have said from the very moment they ran or went quiet, there's something here for both of us to work on. And I think for me, like every week we go through this energy of, it's been another week. Is this even going to happen? And your doubts are their doubts, and that's the same energy. Like for the last couple of weeks, I felt my twin flame's energy really, really strong, really intensely. It felt like he was going to reach out, and then over the weekend, it was just deep emotions connected to him. And today, I'm on a high connected to him. The energy is really intense. But I had to look at the whole weekend. I had to see where, I was feeling his regret, I was feeling his emotions, and now I'm feeling his love. But I have to understand, like, he's regretful for certain behaviours he did. But I have to look at where I have regret. What did I do that I could have done differently? Why am I being emotional right now? What do I still need to heal? And that's when the inner teen energy came in. I was like, I have to stop acting like a teenager. And then I was like, oh my God, his behaviour is very teenage-like, isn't it? And I'm like, oh my God, we're both literally going through this inner teen energy. And until we heal that section and evolve into our adulthood energy, as in a sense, we're never really going to be able to come back together, because we're continuously going around in this cycle of, I am a fucking insecure teenage girl and he's an insecure teenage boy. This is not it. And like, this is the thing. When I continued to be in that behavior, so did he. How was I expecting him to change his behavior? And this is so, it's ridiculous. Like, it's this avoidant energy. Like, as a teenager, you just avoid. It's like, let's not have any serious conversations. Let's just do everything and pretend everything's okay. It's that kind of energy. But as a mature, awakened, soul, we should be able to have these hard conversations. And they shouldn't even be hard conversations, because they're just conversations. The only reason we think they're hard is because we're in a fucking teenage energy. And my God, it's so scary. I just keep going back to like my teenage self, and it's just like, oh, how did I expect him to behave differently if I was behaving in my inner teen woundedness? My insecurity, my shame, my unworthiness. And that's the reflection of them as well. Anything you feel, they're feeling as well. So that's, as I said, shame, unworthiness, insecurity. Like, how did you feel as a teenager? Did you feel confident in yourself or your body? No. Did you feel attractive? No. Did you feel good enough to be, in a relationship? No, because you had inner child wounding that made you feel unworthy, and you had no experience in it. But now we have the tools to enter into a healthy, interdependent relationship dynamic once we shed the inner teen wounding. And that's it. And so any of you that have been going through this avoidant energy, this runner chaser dynamic, which we all have, and questioning, why are they still running? Why are you still running? What are you still running from? Where are you avoiding stuff? Where are you afraid of commitment? I'm not afraid of commitment, but there was a lot of things that were in the way unconsciously. I've lived on my own for 8 years. 7 years? 7 years. And, it's hard when you're living on your own for 7 years to actually even fathom having anyone in your space. I used to say before I was as healed as I am now, I used to say I'd build a little shed for my husband to live in because he's not living in my house. Whereas I'm different now because I'm ready to share my space. But I was, for a while there, it was kind of like the energy of, oh my God, somebody in my space, like my energy, I can't do this. But it's different when it's your twin flame, obviously. But you're going to have your space. You're going to have that interdependence anyway. But I have to remove the blocks between me and commitment, because obviously I want to be in that long-term, healthy, interdependent relationship. But I have to, think about how I would share my space. It's like, oh my God, I don't want anyone in here. But I do now. But I was going through this over the weekend. Like, that was my fear of commitment. It's not a fear of being with somebody. It's a fear of letting somebody into my space. And we have to work on these things as well. But these are all little blocks. But everything, as I said, you're going through, they're going through too. The fear of commitment, the fear of losing yourself, the fear of not being good enough, all of these things. And the one thing we do go through is like we feel like we're not good enough for this kind of love. All you need to do is be yourself and live with an open heart. Love with an open heart. Because we don't need money, we don't need material things. What we need is emotional and spiritual safety. That's the only thing that you need to do in order to be enough. You're enough anyway. But that's all. We think that we need material things to be enough in a relationship. No, you don't. All you need is the right heart and the right soul, the right healing done, that compassion, that care, and that love. That's what we want. And that's all we need to be worthy. Well, we just have to be ourselves, effectively. Just, So don't let these blocks get in the way. And just remember, everything that's happening is reflecting back to you. Where can you work on? Or what can you work on? Ask yourself, where are you running? What are you avoiding? Where do you fear commitment? Where do you fear love? Work on that. Work on your inner child and work on your inner teen. And you'll soon see that this teenage behavior will eventually end. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you would like help on your journey, please book me for a free discovery call today. There's nothing more than to help on your path. Also, I'd like to mention I'm doing my first free webinar on Friday the 8th of August at 6 p.m. Ireland UK time. I will be speaking on healing after narcissistic abuse, inner child work, inner teen work, and shadow work. Hope to see you there. If you need any information, just comment below or comment on the community post in my community posts.